Cents Per Mile, featuring Charles Gracie and Paul Gibson, with loads of recruiting and marketing experience and backed by the largest driver audience in the world. We deliver carriers the driver perspective, find solutions, and help make sense make sense.
Thank you for tuning in to Cents Per Mile. I'm your host, Charles Gracie.
And I'm your co-host, Paul Gibson. What are we talking about today, Charles?
Benefits, lack of benefits, the use of benefits. You know, you should have benefits.
Benefits are great, but also not what they used to be.
Well, nothing's what it used to be. I mean, it is the story of today, my guy.
It's pretty... I mean, there's some things that are better today. You know, I mean, depending on how far back you go, you know, there wasn't air conditioning or power steering or, you know, and like being a tiny guy with a big truck like you definitely need that for sure. But before we do that, we got to get to the things that we got to talk about today that we do every day.
I think we need to go back to that, actually.
Oh, okay. What's up? Running boards?
I like my truck.
Oh, I'm sure.
I do. It's big. It uses a lot of gas.
Mm-hmm.
It's matte black. It's loud.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all the things that you should enjoy in life.
Oh, no, I'm sure you absolutely love it. I'm sure it feels like an extension of yourself, and that's why you like it so much.
It is. Big and loud.
Yeah, because you're not. Well, you're one of those things. So we are on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon. We are on YouTube. We are everywhere that you get your podcasts. So if you check us out on there, if you could like, subscribe, rate, it gets us pushed further out, gets us more engagement, which allows us to do cooler stuff like some of the stuff that we will have coming up.
Yeah, or you can go to centspermilepodcast.com. You can suggest a topic, to be a guest, or even to become a sponsor.
Speaking of sponsors, who's our sponsor today, Charles?
Starting from loading to unloading and maintaining the highest standards in the terms of safety while in transit, they leave nothing to chance. MVT, Mesilla Valley Transportation. Check them out at m-v-t.com.
Speaking of leaving things to chance, it's time for the news. All right, so it's time for the news. Today we have newly hired driver shoots her manager, accusing him of paying her 2 years late. So this driver got mad at her manager, and this husband and wife own a trucking company, and she said that he paid her 2 years late, and she shot him. And then the police went and tracked her down because she tried to escape in her truck. She barricaded herself in there for like 4 hours. I don't know why you'd barricade yourself in the truck when you're surrounded by police officers, because it's not like they're just going to like go away. But that's what she did.
I mean, she also shot her manager, so if you're looking for good reasoning skills, probably not the person to be looking at.
Pay your drivers? That feels a little off on that one.
Accusing of paying her 2 years late. 2 years is a long time to carry a debt.
That's the interesting part. Let me find it. So she got hired a month before this happened. So in talking to the man's wife, who also helps run the company, she said, "I have no clue what that means or what she's talking about. She's only worked for us for a month and she has gotten paid."
I'm just saying, barriers to entry to get your CDL or to even become employed are needed in today's world. There needs to be a barrier to entry. I think even a simple IQ test today serves the purpose.
Well, I mean, and I don't, you know, I'm all about like less regulation and stuff like that. But I mean, it is a mentally taxing job. I don't, you know, maybe not even necessarily like a mental health assessment. But, you know, I think there's a lot of room for maybe like mental health check-ins.
Dude, she was there a month. Like, what were you going to do? Mental health check-in and orientation?
Yeah, maybe. You know, I mean, I feel like there had to be signs.
Yeah, I mean, the mugshot, there's clearly a sign. This person does not look happy.
Right, but I mean, also, well, I mean, she hadn't been paid in 2 years. I mean, okay, also, maybe that's telling. How terrible is it to work for you if you've worked there a month and it feels like 2 years? I mean, I'm not saying that company is terrible, because they've obviously, you know, like, Godspeed, that's a terrible situation to be in, and nobody deserved that. But like, maybe that is reflective of the driver experience, just the time warping.
I think that's the employee experience nowadays, man. Like if you're an employee in today's world, you are navigating an employer driven market right now. Most people are at capacity. Most people are at capacity. Most people are being very selective, and they don't have to be as competitive because there's so many people on the market for a job.
Well, it's just like, like with the Q2 stuff all dropping. One of the things is like the unemployment rate stayed the same, but like it's like 20% lower of actual active participants in the job force. Now, I would say, I think that gets us kind of into benefits, which is something that we are talking about today. And, I mean, back then it was like you had a pension and it was like a guaranteed, that you were gonna, if you just stayed there, you'd be good. You'd stack it up, you get vested. And then, kind of the shift to the 401k kind of turned into a, hey, it's in your hands. And, that also encouraged, you could make career moves and take your retirement with you, but there's more risk and it's up to you to manage it. And so I think our guests are actually, speaking of retention and employee experiences, I think will be great to talk about that. So after we go behind the desk with Tenstreet, we'll talk to them.
Do you want to grow your fleet but get buried by paperwork, slow hiring processes, and outdated systems, all while struggling to comply with changing safety regulations? Enter Tenstreet, the all-in-one platform that simplifies driver lifecycle management by bringing marketing, recruiting, onboarding, safety, and retention together in one place. Tenstreet coordinates and streamlines all your operations. Post to dozens of job boards at once. Speed time to hire with pre-population and AI to get more full applications faster. And manage the entire post-hire process, from cutting costs with online onboarding to integrating all safety data into one dashboard, to improving retention through thoughtful engagement. Whether you have one truck or 1,000, our expert team is here to help. Sleep soundly knowing you can pass an audit, attract needed drivers, and achieve your business goals. Join the thousands of carriers using Tenstreet. Sign up for a demo today.
Mesilla Valley Transportation, founded by truck drivers for truck drivers. Why choose MVT? Well, it's simple.
I started off as a driver. Now I'm managing routes. With MBT, the sky's the limit.
Balance is key. State-of-the-art equipment, a strong focus on safety, and a family-driven company culture where respect and hard work are at the core. Mesilla Valley Transportation, where we care about you. Join our family today.
Well, now it's time to make sense make sense. And, well, when we're talking benefits, we have to bring in the people that, know more about it than us. And that's not saying a lot because, Paul and I do not dive into benefits too much on this show. So there's first time for everything. We're bringing in Ted Benna and Kyle Bagley with the Radish plan. How you guys doing today?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Super. Fantastic.
So Ted, I have to ask, just to provide context for our viewers, you're known as the father of the 401k. Can you tell me how that whole nickname and that came about?
Well, actually, I didn't give it to myself, Charles. It was something Money Magazine came up with, and I was the guy that designed and created the first 401k savings plan, and one of the articles they wrote up, why they blessed me with that title.
I got blessed a while back with the Dr. Phil of trucking. I didn't want it. There's a lot of people use it, and then I just had to embrace it. But it is one of those things where when someone gives you a nickname, it kind of sticks. And if you were part of the first 401k, I had one of those. Like, who doesn't like a good 401k plan, especially with a nice company match in there?
Well, that's one of the things I came up with that was part of the creative pieces that I had, and that was an employer matching contribution, and for employees to be able to make pre-tax contributions themselves into the plan. And neither one of those things, Charles, were in the law, the legislation that was enacted, and So, but there wasn't anything saying thou shalt not, so I figured, well, let's give this a shot. Fortunately, Treasury ultimately approved both those things.
That's pretty cool stuff, my guy. I appreciate you for that. Many people probably appreciate you for that because social insecurity is not hacking it nowadays. So when we're talking benefits, that is today's theme of the show. It's one of those things that a lot of employers have leveraged over the years and tried to evolve to work not only with attracting talent into an organization, but also retaining talent. Now, it's done more over time and it's kind of degraded over time. Most people have the same benefits. Most places you walk into have health, dental, vision. Most places have a 401k. They might have a different level of match. And now we're seeing a different problem in today's world manifest, which is retention. No matter what industry you're in, especially trucking, there's an emphasis on retention. You're starting to see KPIs dictate longevity in a position for people. You guys have been working on something pretty cool, and we got a chance to discuss it. Now, having you guys on the show to talk about it, the Radish plan. And you're kind of trying to address all these different things with this new program. Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys have been cooking up over there?
Yeah, Charles. Well, I started working on it a little over a year and a half ago now, and the initial focus was the fact that many middle income and low employees can no longer afford to contribute to 401k. Even if they have the opportunity, living costs just have gotten so out of control, and so many of them can't afford to have money deducted from their paycheck. So, the original idea was to create a plan where employers could help them build money that was accessible for emergency purposes primarily, rather than the focus being on, hey, look, 30 years from now, you may have money to retire. It's more like, hey, we're going to put money into an account that you can have access to it for car repairs or whatever, buying a vehicle, buying a truck like you like, you know, be able to get back and forth to work, etc. All kind of things. And it's an incentive plan because the employer can design it however they want, using whatever KPIs they want to use to drive performance. So unlike a 401k where, hey, you get the match, all you have to do is put money into the plan, it's not tied to any performance other than, your employee. This is totally tied to performance. And the employer can set whatever performance, the employee needs to meet, in order to receive the plan contributions.
So any goal or KPI could be applied. So if I'm running a sales team, I can put sales KPIs there. If I'm running a recruiting team, I can put hiring KPIs there, or I could just put attendance KPIs in place.
And safety and arrival on time and, whatever.
So let's talk about that for a second from the safety perspective, because every trucking company out there is looking for ways to motivate their drivers to be safer. I can put a safety incentive out there. I can put a mileage incentive out there. I could put a time on the road incentive. There's several different variations I can apply to this. Is there anything that can't be applied to it?
No, it's whatever the employer wants to use. It's completely open, totally.
Charles, internally we say an employee benefit that doesn't benefit the employees isn't a benefit. And so if the standard things that you have to offer off the shelf when someone's getting hired, those are, all right, I get it, thank you. But if you have 50% participation in a 401k or whatever plan you have in place, why not supplement that with something that a driver can be in control of earning? Imagine being able to see how I can earn more and be in control of that earning effort and earning opportunity now, this month, next quarter, whatever those campaigns are set up to be. We put the earning and retirement in the employee's control, which is brand new. When we pitch this thing, we hear very often, there has been no innovation in this space for 50 years.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, and the only thing people are doing is they're making it easier to sign up for a 401k. They're just removing friction. Well, we hear that this is just the most innovative thing, thanks to Ted, and he's being very shy. He's quite the celebrity. $15 trillion in the retirement space because of his creativity back in the day. And so, how can we do something different where we give the employer all this control, how earning happens, and then the employee be able to see it? We call it gamification of retirement benefits.
I think that's an interesting take on it, because when you look at what's working out there and what's not, people like to be in control of their earnings. So if you can find some way to motivate people to align with the company's objectives and have a financial gain for it, it's a lot easier to buy in when you can associate dollars to your pocket or bank account.
That's right. Motivation's the right word for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Cal's built something here where the employee can actively engage with this, unlike a 401k.
I mean, I've engaged in mine, Ted. I've watched it over the last several months not gain as much as it historically has.
Well, this is a whole different ball game. It's right out there in front for the participants to see actively what they're accumulating, and then we also can show them, hey, here's the potential of what you can earn over the next 12 months, and here's what you have to do to achieve it. Now, I understand a lot of the trucking companies already have incentive plans, in addition to their 401k. So as a result of that, we've provided 3 options that the employer could use here, with their existing incentive plan. The first one is they could keep their existing plan, and use the front end engagement piece we have here to hopefully provide a greater level of motivation, without minimal risk, a little bit of expense, to pay us, to gamify that for them and make it more engaging and interesting. The second would be to actually adopt a Radish plan, which is a qualified retirement plan. If they do that, the employer gets some tax break. The contributions then go into a plan that are exempt from FICA, unemployment, and workman's compensation. So that's the second alternative. The third one would be to actually have the incentive contributions become an additional contribution to the 401k and go in there instead. And, again, we gamify it, to make it more engaging for the, the employee. So, they can have 3 alternative ways, basically, of doing this.
So I think that is by itself pretty exciting, is that you've made 3 different paths that an employer can choose to allocate effort to in a effort to not only attract but retain. You can even put a multiplier on it, from the sounds of it, by longevity in tenure.
That's right. And yeah, anything that you'd like. The goal here is motivate. And motivation is two-sided. It's the opportunity to earn, but the opportunity to lose. And so if you're looking to create more loyal, longer-lasting employees, give them the opportunity to earn more, go above and beyond, let them make the decision, but also show them what they leave on the table if they do go find a different job at a different company. And so we do both things very, very well. We show them the opportunity to earn right now, and then the opportunity to earn over the next 12 months, where if they do want to go chase more money elsewhere, let's say, they see in front of them what they leave on the table. And employers love this too, because we do all the work. We do all the record keeping. All you have to do is set up what we call campaigns, the incentive. So is it weekly safety, monthly safety, quarterly safety, whatever it is? We don't necessarily care what it is or its frequency. We just want you to use the Radish plan to make sure that your people, your employees and drivers, see what's on the table. And as they hit these KPIs, you've said, hey, look, I'm going to share in the profits. You get a piece of this. If you hit these KPIs that we need to build a business, you're going to get a piece of it in the form of this bonus. Funding a retirement plan.
That's awesome, though. So you found a way to not only enhance the benefit offering, but enhance the incentive and link it to the same goals or alignment of the company and its direction, and then gamified it in a way where the employee can view this and say, hey, this is where I need to be to hit this. And hey, if I leave, this is the money I'm leaving on the table. If I miss this, this is the money I'm leaving on the table. So if I'm a employer at a trucking company, I can associate this with on-time delivery, safety, tenure, miles. There's any number of combinations that could be applied here in an industry that is hemorrhaging at all times due to turnover.
That's right. And we've just seen the numbers, from a consultant, what the turnover actually costs. What are those hard costs when someone leaves? Rehiring, shifting of schedules. That number could be astronomical.
Oh, just the assets and the replacement of the driver is very expensive. I mean, your average company can range anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 cost per hire. When you factor in swapping out the equipment, the money spent in marketing, the money spent in onboarding, the money spent in transport, the man hours associated with each leg of that. I mean, it is pretty hefty. So if something as simple as gamification of benefits and alignment, obviously, I think, execution matters. You have to put goals in place that are achievable. If you say, hey, I want my driver to achieve 5,000 miles a week, probably not going to have the best of times. So is there consulting with companies on setting realistic goals and achievable goals, or is it, obviously I've worked as a consultant in the trucking space, and sometimes people just have bad ideas. Like they're just downright stupid at times.
Well, we work directly with the employer, to help them design and, set this up.
So obviously you consult them a little bit. Like if you see some goal that's just outrageous, like, hey, can that actually be achieved? You're letting them know, like, hey, these need to be in reach. Otherwise, people are going to be able to see in this that they're not.
Yeah, Charles, that's what my whole career has been, helping employers, design and achieve what they want to achieve. I mean, I've spent my whole, career doing that. So.
That's commendable, because there's times I'm beating my head up against the wall. Like you tell someone something, you can lead a horse to water, you can't force them to drink, is the old adage there. But there's times as a consultant where people have great ideas, and then it's in execution that it just miserably implodes, because people are like, well, if I just move this much farther, this many more people won't be able to get it. And I'm like, that defeats the purpose of what you're setting out to do. You're trying to motivate them to hit that so you can hit that consistently rather than every so often 10% of the time.
That's right. And what we found is, in order to motivate somebody, it takes a certain amount of positive touch points. That's why we want to build campaigns that are easier to hit, so they're constantly getting reinforced with a win. Got it. And it could be $10 a week, $20 a week. It doesn't matter. What is that little thing that you can keep that drip going? That's positive. And so as you add up these positive touch points, you can go for the bigger ones. You might have your Everest goal.
Yeah, and you should.
Yeah, have it there. It's just like pricing models. You have the cheapest, middle, and highest. You do that so people buy in the middle, because that's your margin. Now, great if they buy the big one, but you want to have you want to set it up in a way where there's constant success in small amounts of wins to get them to the bigger wins later. And who's going to leave a company that they're constantly winning from, they're constantly earning from? They see the future earn, they see the carrot out there, and they're remembering they're being taken care of. And so, if you get a balance within your Radish plan of several $1,000s, tens of thousands of dollars, and you need to tap into it, you can. And that's what's so special about this plan too. It's liquid. And so if you need to make a repair, you can request funds in the plan. And now what that employee is thinking is, hey, all this money that my company just paid me, they're helping me pay for this emergency.
So that's like me getting that bill for my kid's wisdom teeth coming out. I just got that bill yesterday, and it's like $4,200. If I have tenure and I've hit my goals, I can go hit my Radish plan rather than going to hit my savings account or going to hit my 401k and taking a penalty.
That's exactly right. And the driver, the employee, was in control the whole time of earning. They have that money because of, their hopefully elevated performance.
And there's no worry about vesting or anything like that because they have to hit the milestone. So that is the vesting, is hitting that milestone, hitting whatever that marker was.
That's right. And so the company can choose how often to make those contributions. But once it's in the account and assigned to that employee, it's theirs. It immediately vests. And so it's theirs. Now, there is still the penalty of 10%, and then you've got some taxes to take it out. But it's been growing. It's been invested in a money market, a very safe interest vehicle where you never have to worry about loss.
Now, let me ask you, is this something that people can run? Like, say they have an existing 401k in place, they want to keep that core benefit. Is this something that works in conjunction with that, or is it something that replaces that?
Well, again, go back to the options I mentioned earlier. So it could be totally separate from the 401k, or they could make an additional contribution into the 401k, either way. Or they could just keep their existing incentive plan, but gamify it to hopefully make it more productive. With option 2, the Radish plan and the 401k, the employer gets tax benefit they don't get otherwise. They save the FICA tax, workman's comp, and unemployment. So that's a positive tax benefit, to the employer if they go that route.
That is some really cool stuff. So if I'm an employer and I'm interested in this, what's that process look like? What's the time from I reach out? Where do I reach out? How long does it take to enact? What's it take to roll this out from start to finish? What's the lift?
I would say 2 weeks, and you start with talking to Ted, figuring out what your current needs are. We like to put the celebrity up front because all the financial questions.
I feel like there's a missed opportunity here. Like, hey, you got to do the TED Talk.
There is a TED Talk. We need an AI bot on the website. Hey, Ted here. But we can't get all of his brain in documentation form. No, but you're going to talk to Ted. He's going to put the plan together. We already have the prototype built. We work with one of the largest ERISA firms in the country, the Wagner Law Group out of Boston. We throw some ideas out there. They tell us how they want to incentivize. We get all the business information. We put a plan together, and we keep it open-ended so it's flexible too. After that, you talk to me. We set up the campaign, and then we go.
The most time is just the employer deciding, making a decision.
Which path they want to take, how you want to gamify it.
Yep, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Now I'm assuming that there's accessibility for the employees on this. There's an app or something where they can see where they're at and track where their successes are at or what money they got on the table.
Yep. All mobile web, all right there on your phone. Nothing to download. Just you need a cell phone number and you get logged in.
That's pretty cool stuff. So if someone wants to find you guys or get a hold of you guys to have this conversation, where would they find you all?
Website's best, radishplan.com. Radish, like the vegetable, plan.com. Let me also clear the air. Why radish? We get it all the time. Let me take two minutes. The radish is the fastest growing vegetable in a garden. We wanted things to grow fast. It grows close to the surface, so it's easily accessible, and it grows a deep, long root. And the colors look good online, and so I wanted that part. So there's a reason why radish. We wanted it to be unique in every industry, in every vertical we jump into, and so that is why radish. I knew the question was probably coming soon anyway.
Man, every marketing and branding person out there is just loving you right now. You spoke all the right branding ideas.
I absolutely appreciate it. But yeah, it was great having you guys on. But yeah, we are right at about time, so we've got to wrap it up. Is there anything you guys would like to tell the people before we go?
Don't think so. Just, hey, check it out. You got nothing to lose.
And everything to gain.
Absolutely.
It's cool stuff. I appreciate you guys coming on Cents Per Mile. And Paul, when we're talking benefits, innovative benefits kind of make you stand out, make you look different from the competitors. This is something that I'm really interested to follow up on. But I'm kind of here to see more of this. I would like one of these.
Oh, I mean, for sure. I mean, I love the fact that it challenges things and it's forward progression. I mean, I even think it's great that, you like people coming up with something and then making it better. I love that concept too. That's essentially what we do. That's the benefit of working for us or working with us, is that we are constantly trying to take things and make them better, just like that. So when I get the chance to see other people do it, I am here for it.
Well, hey, you know what? I'm looking forward to it. This is exciting times, but it's that time. This is Cents Per Mile. I'm Charles Gracie. See you next time.
I'm your co-host, Paul Gibson. See you next. Wait, you said my thing. You said, catch you next week.